Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. There's Got No Shame from Brother Cane, and with us today on Rock and Metal Revival is Brother Cane lead vocalist and guitarist Damon Johnson. Welcome back to Rock and Metal Revival, Damon.
Hey, it's so good to talk to you guys again. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for playing Got No Shame. I like that song.
Hey, man. We love that song. And Damon, last time that we talked with you, you were promoting your solo album, Battle Lessons. And at the time, we kind of mentioned your time with Brother Cane, but it didn't sound like we'd see that band back together. And now here we are talking Brother Cane back together, coming to Potawatomi Casino here in Milwaukee. What changed, Damon?
Well, the thing that has made all the difference is really my manager, Kevin. We've only been together for, I guess, a little over 2 years now, Greg. And just out of the blue, he brought it up one day. We were having lunch, and he's like, how do you feel about Brother Cane? And I just says, man, I love it. I love the band. I love those songs. I said, the problem is it's just impossible to get the original guys together and move forward with any kind of rhythm or consistency because geographically everybody's spread out. Everyone has different commitments now. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of put my mind at ease. He goes, listen, you got a couple guys here in town that are your reliable musicians, guys you've already invested even more time with than you did with Brother Cane. And I think, honestly, guys, the real coup for me emotionally was when I got Glenn Maxey involved. Glenn was the original bass player in Brother Cane. He recorded the first album, did the first tour with us. And, man, we haven't played music together since 1994, if you can believe that. So it's something I just never could have even imagined happening, and it is happening. And so the further we got down that path, the better I felt about it, and kind of gave it my blessing to go ahead and see if we could put a couple of shows together. And of course, as you just mentioned, we're coming to Milwaukee, which is one of my favorite towns, and Northern Lights is one of my favorite places to play for sure. Nice.
Now, is there any plans for maybe some new music for Brother Cane?
Well, there's definitely some talk about it. I'm not going to deny that that's a possibility. I think you guys know me well enough to know that songwriting is something I love to do. So I never am at a shortage of ideas or certainly lacking the desire to write. And someone said to me just yesterday, they were like, man, that Battle Lessons record was so good. They're like, any of those songs could have been Brother Cane songs,
Yeah.
So I guess at the end of the day, it has a little bit to do with just a familiar name and, people having positive memories of Brother Cane. And, man, we always tried to record the songs in as much of a timeless manner as possible. I don't think they necessarily sound dated at all.
No, not at all.
So that certainly, I guess in a way I've sort of had it set up all along for the possibility of this happening. So yeah, new music is certainly being considered.
Cool.
Now, Damon, I had the chance to catch Brother Cane on tour with Van Halen, and I'll be honest with you, I ended up wearing out a couple cassette tapes playing In Fools Shine On over and over and over again, which I still play on my radio show today. I still have listeners say, man, I love that Brother Cane tune you just played. You got to be proud of the music that Brother Cane has, I should say, that it stood the test of time like this.
I appreciate you saying that, and I am really proud of it. And the further I get down this new path with Brother Cane 2022, I think the more I'm coming to understand that it is that pride in the music that is really what has kept me from doing it again. It's like I never wanted to diminish the name. I never wanted to take any value away from the quality of the songs. And I guess I could have just had some version of Brother Cane together all these years, but without proper management and proper booking and marketing and things like that, I just felt like the music deserves more than that. All the hard work that we did in the 90s deserves more than that. So, yeah, no question I'm proud of it. And, I think people are going to see that pride and just, how special those songs are to me. I never take that for granted, the quality of those songs.
Yeah, dude, I'm kind of new to Brother Cane, actually. Like, last night was the first time I actually listened to a whole album. And, dude, you kind of got lumped in with the grunge thing, because I think Brother Cane kind of came out at the same time. So, I'm regretting overlooking it, because the guitars are awesome on this album. And the solos are so tasty and just, great tone. And, it's like, man, do you think that's kind of what happened? That you kind of got lumped in with the grunge kind of thing that was happening in 93 and the early 90s kind of thing going on?
Well, I think in the 90s there was a cornucopia of challenges.
Yeah,
there were just so many problems, not the least of which is that we were just four guys from Alabama that wanted to play rock music. We never thought about images or genres or style or any of that stuff. We just were committed to writing good songs and putting on good performances. That's it. And, the industry wanted us to have a story. They needed us to have some reason to kind of move further up the ladder. We didn't have drug problems. We didn't, we weren't born out of some other band, or, we didn't have any punk rock influences. And nothing against those bands that did. I mean, that was what was the beautiful, the power of that moment in the early 90s was all these great bands with punk influences making records and writing songs. And, certainly Kurt Cobain helped kick that door down, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, on and on. So, we loved that music, and there were obviously great songs and all that. But again, we musically had way more in common with Bad Company or Grand Funk Railroad.
Definitely.
Than we did those kind of bands. So we just didn't really have a home. We didn't have a clique of bands to go out and tour with. And we were, in a way, kind of an odd fit at many, many places.
That's true. Yeah. Damon, over the years, you've played on some fantastic albums from Brother Cane, Alice Cooper, Black Star Riders. your own solo work is fantastic. And then you were a member of Thin Lizzy, which is quite a resume, my friend. Is there one piece of work or moment that you are the most proud of?
Oh, that's a great question. As an artist, and I didn't call myself an artist for the longest time. I just felt like this kind of hack from Alabama that just sort of stumbled his way through putting a band together and writing some songs, but co-writing some songs. But, I can tell you this. I am as proud and still enjoy listening to my latest album, Battle Lessons, as much as anything I've ever done. I so love those songs. I love the arrangements and the guitar energy that I was able to come up with when I was writing and making demos. To get Nick Raskulinecz, a producer of his quality, so excited and committed to going in the studio with me, that was a testament to those songs. So, I don't have a label. I didn't have a manager at that time. I didn't have a budget, to do anything. It was just the music. So I think my rededication to that craft, fellas, is what's making this Brother Cane thing feel so good. Because after my last two solo records, now that I'm putting on Wishpool and Seeds and the debut album and getting my head back in those songs and kind of relearning some lyrics and parts, I'm kind of like you said, Greg. I'm like, wow, these are great records.
Some good
whoever
stuff.
made these did a good job. So, you know, I'm proud of all of it, man. But for sure, Battle Lessons is still a favorite, I think.
Nice. Now, what's one important thing you might have learned from playing with Scott Gorham in Thin Lizzy? That had to be so cool.
Just a dream come true, guys. You know, Scott was one of my, I mean, I had lots of guitar heroes, but Scott was definitely in the top 5, you know.
Nice, yeah.
I was baptized in those Thin Lizzy records, and
oh yeah.
You know, I studied almost by proxy, I guess. I was studying Phil's lyric writing and vocal melodies as much as I was the guitar parts. But for sure, man, I saw Lizzy when I was 15, and, you know, Scott was just a god to me. I was just standing out there going, oh, my God, look at that dude with that Les Paul, and his hair is down to his ankles. And
oh, yeah.
every girl in the periphery, all they were doing was watching Scott Gorham, you know? So, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good role model to have, if you ask me.
Definitely.
You know, a guy with that quality of musicianship, but also with some swagger and, you know, just some
style,
some juju as a performer.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, Damon, I love that Battle Lessons album, and I'm glad you're as happy with it, because I love that. I didn't take it out of the player for quite a while once I first got a hold of it. My question is, when you come out with Brother Kane, are you going to be playing some of them tunes off Battle Lessons at all on the tour?
I appreciate you asking that, Greg. This is so funny because I sent the guys a set list. I'm like, hey, here's it's like 16 songs that I selected off over the 3 Brother Kane records. I said, let's put a show together around these. To a man, all 3 of them texted me back, said, hey, man, we have to play Shivering, Shivering off of Memoirs, and we have to play something off of Battle Lessons. So, for sure, man. I think the title track is such a killer song. It's good energy. I had the great experience last year for the Get Ready to open some shows for Leonard Skinner when I was out filling in for Gary. And, man, Battle Lessons just went down a storm. And those people don't know that song. They've never heard that song.
Exactly.
You know, they recognize Fools Shine On and Got No Shame and stuff like that, but man, we played Battle Lessons. I just remember all the road crew guys and, you know, people in the audience like, wow, that song rocks. So, you know, I don't take that stuff for granted either, you know, so for sure we're going to play some of that at these Brother Kane days. Nice.
Like I said, last night I actually got a chance to listen to the whole first album, and I listened to the second. I think I listened to all 3 of them. But Don't Turn Your Back on Me grabbed my attention off of the first album because it's got a really cool talk box guitar solo.
Awesome, brother.
You think the world would be a better place if there was more guitar solos that involved the talk box?
More talk box. Thank you, Peter Frampton. Yeah, the cool story about that song is, you know, I got to give a lot of credit to my co-writer of most of those Brother Kane songs, which was my friend Marty Fredrickson. Mm-hmm. And had I not met Marty Fredrickson in 1991, and we started writing together, Brother Kane never would have happened. I'm just telling you, because I wasn't experienced and skillful enough as a writer at that point. Mm. So Marty was essential. Don't Turn Your Back on Me was the very first song we ever wrote together.
Oh, cool.
And I just remember getting in the car with the cassette and racing back to my record company A&R guy's house, which I stayed at his place when I went to L.A. to write. Mm-hmm. And I ran inside. I said, hey, Aaron, you have to hear this. You have to hear it. So he fired it up, you know, on his home stereo, and he couldn't have been more excited. He's like, yes, more of these. You need to write with him again. So, you know, shortly after that came Hard Act to Follow, The Road, and then Got No Shame was, you know, that was the last one we wrote for the record, and clearly we knew that one was special.
Nice. Now, the song Got No Shame, you think it would have been even more popular if there was even more cowbell? Because it's got cowbell in the chorus. The chorus has enough cowbell. But you think maybe the rest of it, if If it was going through the whole thing, it probably would have.
Yeah,
been
more
number
cowbell,
one all the way.
more harmonica.
There you go.
Yeah, talk about proud, guys. I mean, looking back 30 years ago, I mean, it was really fortunate for me, for my career, that my big introduction to the world, as a singer and a band member, was Got No Shame. I mean, it could have been one of the more poppier songs on the record or something more like a ballad, but it wasn't, man. I mean, Got No Shame is ferocious.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's ferocious, and it just speaks to exactly the kind of guitar player I wanted to be at that moment in time. It shows all of my Van Halen influences, my Ted Nugent guitar influences, Skinner, Aerosmith. Those were the main guys for me. Angus Young, man, that guitar solo, I may have literally lifted something off of Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
Well, we are like when we first saw this that Brother Cane was coming back to Potawatomi. I said to Jerry,
that's a great place, too.
We got to get Damon on the show because I love Brother Cane, and we are looking so forward to that show coming up April 22nd, 8 p.m. show at Potawatomi Bingo and Casino in the Northern Lights Theater. And Damon, we are jazzed to see that show. And we always let our artists pick the song on the way out of the interview. What do you want us to play?
Oh, wow. Hey, man, thank you for that. Why don't you play what was our second single off the Seeds album? It's just a monster riff. I was totally flaunting my Pat Travers influences. But I'd love for you to play our song Bread Maker off the Seeds album.
Outstanding. Well, Damon Johnson, you are always welcome back on Rock and Metal Revival, and we hope to see you in Milwaukee.
Greg, fellas, both of you, thank you so much for the kind words and your enthusiasm, man. I feel it all the way through the phone. So, man, I hope I see you there at Potawatomi.